Hello, thanks for joining us.
On the programme this evening.
Forgotten and abandoned, a special report into the thousands of children born with birth defects after sodium valproate was prescribed during pregnancy. We hear from the families still campaigning for compensation.
It shouldn't be this hard. Everything that we've done for our children up until now, and they're 18, has been a fight, and we continue to fight.
2 years on and nothing's changed. The Patient Safety Commissioner's frustrations after the government fails to respond to her recommendations into the scandal.
Well, my message a year ago was just get on with it. So what do I say 2 years down the line? Seriously?
And Manchester musician Alex Spencer goes back to where it all began, singing with the Young Voices choir he first performed in when he was just 9 years old.
First tonight, to the families who feel forgotten and abandoned after medication taken during pregnancy left their children with numerous birth defects.
The drug sodium valproate is used to treat epilepsy. In the past, it was also used for bipolar disorder and migraines. Women were told it was safe to use during pregnancy, but it wasn't.
2 years ago, a report by the Patient Safety Commissioner on behalf of the government examined the impact this had. It recommended a compensation scheme as well as quicker interim payments to help families left in financial crisis.
Well, so far, no payments have been made. Our correspondent Anne O'Connor has been speaking to Nicola Stevens from Burton in Kendal. She took sodium valproate during both her pregnancies.
Nicola Stevens is full-time carer for her 20-year-old son, Oliver. He and his sister Grace, who's now 18, were diagnosed with fetal valproate syndrome when they were still at primary school. 20,000 children have been diagnosed and have a range of physical and neurological conditions. It's caused by their mother's epilepsy medication, sodium valproate, taken in pregnancy, never being made aware of its risks to unborn babies.
There was a lot of guilt. I'm very lucky I've got a very supportive husband that's always said to me, without that medication, you possibly wouldn't even be alive to have a family.
Those risks were known back in the 1970s, but deemed to be so low, mothers shouldn't be worried. They were warned the drug might cause cleft palate and spina bifida. Decades later, families are still waiting for compensation, recommended by a report calling it a bigger scandal than thalidomide, the more well-known birth defect from pregnancy drugs.
It shouldn't be this hard. Everything that we've done for our children up until now, and they're 18, has been a fight, and we continue to fight.
Grace is facing her challenges and hoping to study dance at university. Oliver is tackling his autism, having speech therapy, and celebrating passing his driving test.
It's a very big milestone for me. I've been trying to do it for the past 2 years, and it's been a big hurdle to come over, but to overcome it and pass it, it feels like a big relief really in my life.
Their mother is proud of them and critical of those dragging their feet on payouts and even benefits for hundreds of others affected.
How many of them that are stalling these decisions lie awake at night wondering what's going to happen to their children when we're not here? Because it's every night you fall into bed and it's what goes round in your head, like, one day there's not going to be anybody to ring the therapists, to chase the appointments, to fight for their PIP, which is why we've got to do this now.
Anne O'Connor, ITV News, Burton in Kendal.
Well, joining us now are Janet Williams and Emma Murphy, who've gone through this with their own families and helped lead the campaign for compensation. Thank you so much to both of you for coming in tonight. Emma, if we can start with you. Children, we heard about the issue there in the report, but there are so many other problems that this drug has created, so many issues. Heart, kidney, limbs, spine, and the numbers are massive too.
They are, and it's an absolute disgrace that this has happened. Regulators at licensing knew this medicine would cause autism and, as you've just said, lifelong disabilities, and they still marketed it knowing it would harm babies. That is an absolute disgrace, and this government should hang their head in shame.
Yeah, well, we'll be hearing what they've got to say in just a moment. Janet, we heard from Nicola and Oliver in the report just there about why compensation would be really appreciative and needed by them. What kind of difference would it make for families?
Katie, it'd make a huge difference. Bearing in mind that these families have fought through problems with education, problems with the health system, some with social services, and to have that compensation package would allow them to be able to know that there's the money there should they need it. Not only that, you've got to bear in mind as to what they're going to need when the parents are no longer there to do that for them.
Yeah, because lots of children have got lifelong issues, haven't they, that they're going to have to, you know, need care for.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's a fortune, isn't it, fundamentally?
Absolutely.
And we know that it's been passed down generationally as well, hasn't it? So it might not just be them, but it might also be their children, your
Yes, that's
grandchildren.
true.
And
That's
one of the biggest scandals of this is that when our children, if they come to have children, it will affect their children too.
Yeah, well, Emma and Janet, just stay with us because we'll be getting your reaction to that lack of progress over those compensation payments in just a bit.
But before we do that, our political correspondent, Leisha McNally, she's followed this story for several years. Leisha, we heard from the Patient Safety Commissioner about her report into this. What exactly does she have to say?
Well, she didn't expect to mark the 2-year anniversary of this report without seeing a single penny being paid. Professor Hughes only agreed to do the work in the first place on the understanding that it would lead to meaningful action. How often in the past, under multiple governments, have we seen inquiries come and go that put people through all the trauma of reliving past injuries and present struggles, only for any recommendations to sit on some government department shelf gathering dust? Now, the world's first Patient Safety Commissioner said she's determined that will not happen in this case. She's used new powers granted to her office to find out exactly what ministers have been told about her report and when. She now says she'll take her fight directly to Downing Street. In an exclusive interview, I asked Professor Hughes what her message to the government is.
Well, my message a year ago was just get on with it. So what do I say 2 years down the line? Seriously? We've been waiting for your response to the recommendations to a report that I was asked to do by the government. So as Patient Safety Commissioner, I'm asking for a rapid response, rapid action, and for those patients and families who've been harmed to be treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve.
We know it takes time to set up a compensation scheme. This report recommended quick interim payments in the meantime. What kind of time frame were you hoping for?
When I published the report in 2024, I said that these interim payments should be started in 2025. We're now 2026, so the recommendation that I made has already been, bypassed.
You've been pushing the government to reveal what work they have done on this. What have you found out?
So I used the powers under the Medicines and Medical Devices Act to request information about more detail. And what I was told was the details of when ministers were briefed on this, when the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care was briefed, when Number 10 received a briefing. But what I don't have is that vital piece of information, which is what is missing for the government to be able to make a decision and respond to my recommendations. 2 years on, I haven't received a substantive response to my report.
That must be really frustrating for you.
It's frustrating for me, but all I can say is if I'm frustrated, I can only just imagine the level of frustration for families who are affected.
There'll be a lot of people who think, well, the government just doesn't want to find the money to pay for it. Is that your sense?
Well, this is a problem that's been happening for maybe 40, 50 years. So governments of every stripe have been in power while patients were being harmed. For politicians, this is a very large bill, potentially, because of the numbers of people who've been harmed. But I also think there's something about the moral responsibility of government to protect our citizens.
This report sets out very clearly the options for compensating affected families. Is it right that you, as the Patient Safety Commissioner, can work on something like this and then it seemingly gets ignored for 2 years?
Having been asked to do this piece of work, not whether patients should receive financial redress, but how they should receive financial redress, and then not to receive a response from government, feels very devastating to those families who shared that really sensitive personal information with me. It doesn't feel compassionate, it doesn't feel caring, and it really feels like unfinished business.
So what are you going to do next?
The next steps that I have is now I'm aware that the Department of Health and Social Care does not have the authority to provide financial redress, that I need to go further, and I need to go to those government departments who do have that authority and that responsibility to deliver on the recommendations that I've made.
Is there a chance that we could be sitting here 1 year from now and nothing will have changed?
I very much hope not. Not responding to my recommendation is breaching that patient safety principle of transparency and accountability. This is a disgraceful way that, patients and families are being treated by those in power. And what I would say is that if it's not safe care, it's not care at all.
Strong words. Leisha, what has the Department of Health and the government had to say about all these delays?
Well, I've been following the story ever since I arrived in Parliament. That's across 2 different political parties in power, and both have always said very supportive things. But it's really hard to actually get to the bottom of what the hold-up really is. We asked the Department of Health for an interview to try to clear things up, and they declined. But they did send a statement where they said, this is a complex issue, and our priority is to ensure any response is fair, balanced and sensitive to those affected. We are carefully considering the recommendations within the Hughes report, and we aim to provide an update in due course. But if that sounds familiar to any of you, it's because it is. It's almost exactly what they told me this time last year when I asked the same question, that the work is complex. They're considering it carefully. They will provide an update in due course. Now, to be fair, there has been some real progress on recommendations that don't involve compensation. There's a specialist medical clinic set up in Manchester, for instance, to support affected children. And there's been a big drop in the number of babies being born with exposure to valproate because the medicine now has to have a pregnancy warning label. But for those families for whom the warnings came far too late, it does nothing to help them. And in terms of compensation, well, it's basically been radio silence. So when will this update actually happen? Who knows? The Patient Safety Commissioner is certainly trying to find out, as are a number of politicians, including Labour MPs. There'll be a debate in Parliament this coming Wednesday to discuss it. Now, no one there will say that setting up a compensation scheme is easy. Paying for it certainly isn't. But what MPs will say is that these parents and carers of affected children are only getting older. Financially, it's a ticking time bomb anyway, and doing nothing is simply not an option.
Leisha, in Westminster tonight, thank you.
Well, Emma and Janet, thank you so much for staying with us. As we said earlier, you're leading the campaign for compensation. How does it make you feel when you hear and see that statement from the Department of Health?
Can I just say that makes us feel very frustrated, very angry. The fact now that the Patient Safety Commissioner is expected to chase after the Treasury, just as we are, should never be happening. We know that the Health Secretary and the Chancellor and the Treasury sit together in meetings, cabinet meetings or whatever. At that point, they should be discussing this. It shouldn't be for us to have to chase after them.
Mm. So 2 years now since that promise, still no closer, still no compensation. Emma, are you worried it's going to be years and years in the future before you see this? You're shaking your head. I mean, that's an answer in itself.
It is a concern. I think it's important to remind viewers that this is actually the second report for compensation. There was a first report chaired by Baroness Cumberledge in which she recommended compensation, and this is now the 8th year for us. It's just disgraceful, isn't it? And they need to get their act together.
Yeah. Can I just say also, what we need to bear in mind here is that it's not just the 8 years. You've had families go through 30 years ago through clinical negligence, through product liability, because that was the way that the government was forcing them to go, knowing full well it wasn't going to come to anything. So we're looking at not just 8 years for some, but 30, and it has to stop now.
How do you find the strength to keep going?
We've got to. We've got so many families depending on us, and we will never give this campaign up. You know, the Prime Minister was on the news yesterday talking about accountability in politics. He needs to remember them words and think of the real children that have been disabled by this scandal, because our families, the people we represent, they are not going away, and we are not either.
If there are other families out there that you don't yet know about, you don't yet represent, they're worried that they may have been affected by this, what should they do? It's
devastating to hear this news to any parent. If there is anyone out there who have seen this programme, please get in touch with us at infactuk.com. We are here to support you, and we have a great network of families who are ready to welcome with open arms. You are not on your own.
Well, listen, you're not on your own. Thank you so much for your time, Emma and Janet. We really appreciate it, and best of luck with your campaign.
Thank you so much.
To the rest of the evening's news now, and the family of a pilot killed when a light aircraft crashed near Rochdale have revealed he was about to join a commercial airline. Arian Abbasi from London was described as a deeply loving father and devoted husband. The 36-year-old and another man were killed in the crash near the M62 in Littleborough on Tuesday. Police are continuing to search farmland for a device containing propellant which was used to deploy the parachute.
A man's died after being found with stab wounds in Manchester. He's been named locally as Drew McCormick and was in his 20s. Police were called to Southwark Road in Wythenshawe just after 11:30 last night. A 19-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of murder and remains in police custody for questioning.
A 79-year-old woman's died after being hit by a car in Prestwich. Police were called to Bury New Road at around 8 last night after reports a Volvo struck a pedestrian. A man in his 40s has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving.
Manchester United fans have gathered at Old Trafford to mark the anniversary of the Munich air disaster. 23 people, including 8 players and 3 officials, lost their lives in February 1958. A delegation from the club joined supporters to pay their respects at the service this afternoon.
You're watching Granada Reports. Here's what's coming up on the ITV Evening News at 6:30 with Charlie.
More hopefuls in just a moment, but first to football. And this weekend sees Manchester City head to Anfield. Liverpool want a win to boost their push for a Champions League place, while City are 6 points behind leaders Arsenal with 14 games left. But Pep Guardiola says they've improved since last season.
14 games in the Premier League is an eternity, from my experience. It's a lot. And everything can happen. You know, in the other position, we are better than last season. Last season, we finished 23 in the Champions League. We are 8. Last season, first round Carabao Cup, we were in the final. The FA Cup was still there. And last season in the Premier League, we are miles away from Liverpool.
It's another moment for us to see where we are in the development of this team. That, of course, being said, we also know the importance of a result on Sunday, but that goes for all the 20 teams that are playing this weekend in the Premier League. It's the end phase of the season, so results matter more and more.
Salford City have missed out on the chance to climb into League Two's automatic promotion places. Victory at Accrington last night would have lifted them up to second place, but Alex Enterson had other ideas. His goal sealed a 1-0 win and lifted Accrington into the top half of the table.
Well, next night and in just over an hour, the 2026 Winter Olympics opening ceremony will get underway in Milan. And there are a couple of Northwest stars who have their sights set on securing a medal.
Yeah, we've got Britain's most successful skier, Dave Riding, who's also said this will be his last Olympics. There are the snowboarders, Mia Brooks and Hugh Nightingale, and Blackpool's Anna Vipen-Law and her partner Luke Digby will be vying for a place on the podium in the pair's figure skating.
Our reporter Kevin Ashford caught up with Team GB as they said.
You have to just go out and do your utmost best, and then we are given points from the judging panel. So to an extent it is kind of out of our control. So I think for us it's one of these things where if we go out and do our utmost best, then we'll let the future fold out.
I think we know where we're progressing, and over the years we've gradually climbed the world ranking, so we're gradually getting there, but maybe not quite yet. I think we've certainly felt the love so far, so we're excited to perform and show the whole of Britain.
Yeah, I've certainly felt like we've got quite a good backing behind us, which is really supportive going into the games. I mean, it's just something that you really, really want when you're out in such a big atmosphere like that. It's really great.
Correspondent Mike Hall caught up with snowboarder Mia Brooks, a Team GB gold medal favourite earlier this week.
Yeah, and you can see what she had to say on our website, itv.com/Granada, and also on ITVX. Well, finally tonight, he's a Manchester-born musician who swapped busking on Market Street for the stage at the Co-op Live Arena.
Alex Spencer's been described as one of the most exciting new artists in indie music. Last night he joined 8,000 school kids to mark 30 years of the Young Voices concerts.
Yeah, and as our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore found out, this wasn't Alex's first time as part of those concerts.
This is a very special year for Young Voices, isn't it?
It is. It's our 30th anniversary. Who would have believed? 1996 in Dublin, and here we are 30 years later in Manchester. Unbelievable. 3 million children that have performed with us worldwide, and now to witness Alex Spencer performing and headlining our show when he was in our choir as a child. It doesn't get better than that.
Alex Spencer, the last time I chatted to you was at your house in November 2024.
And what a journey it's been since then. Like, a year and a half, so much has happened. I'm 18 now, and
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm 18 in the real world. Now we're doing 4 nights at the Co-op Live with Young Voices, so it's going to be mental. I remember doing it, 9 years old. I was there up in the gods, sat down, and then now I'm actually on the stage, and it's just surreal, like my hometown as well. Manchester's everything to me. I've built up my music from busking in Manchester. I got the stagecraft on the street. I'd have people who used to throw drinks at me. From there, I went on to sign my first record deal at 16.
Your tour is starting next week, isn't it?
Edinburgh, Sheffield, Birmingham. Don't miss out. Don't miss one out, Alex. Liverpool.
Yes.
Big Manchester Academy 2, which is nearly sold out, and London. And it's just like, what a whirlwind it's been.
Oh, I love you, Alex. You're so warm, and I wish everybody was like you I interviewed, my goodness.
The song that I'm going to be playing is Don't Look Back in Anger. One of the first songs I used to busk on Market Street. I'll be playing one of my own songs, Clouded Thinking, tonight. Crazy. So, I've said crazy about 22 times in this interview.
I edit it, it's fine.
I'm playing to 8,000 youngsters who have a passion of music, so I want to inspire every single one of them.
He was amazing out there. Everyone was like joining in. We're all very proud because I'm part of the Young Voices. I found it really exciting because I get to be with all my friends and I get to do something else, singing.
Check out my music. Alex Spencer. You're going to have a lot of editing.
Looks like the most incredible atmosphere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Here's the weather.
Mom, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, hope you've enjoyed your Friday in spite of the weather. A very gusty, wet day, especially lively through the Irish Sea with gusts of 50-55 miles an hour for the Isle of Man at the coast, and also across the tops of the North Pennines where there was some snow this morning, but gradually that all turned back to rain again. Sorry, it was a bit of a washout for you, Greg, on your birthday, but thanks for sharing that photo. Really rather lovely and sums everything up. And I'm afraid there's more unwanted rain falling on already saturated ground over the weekend. However, Sunday should be a little bit drier, slightly milder temperatures as well throughout, but there could be some problems with mist and fog on Saturday. So let's take a closer look. So then, the low pressure that's dominating down towards the southwest is slowly filling over the next few days, so becoming less intense, killing off any showers, bringing about a change in wind direction from a biting easterly to a milder southerly, and also those isobars spacing apart as well, so the winds easing off too by the time we get through to Sunday. Over the next few hours, however, a very different picture. Heavy persistent rain and showers continue, but they pull away to the north, and behind it, as things clear up and dry up, we're expecting some mist and hill fog to form, especially over higher ground, especially over the tops of the Pennines, but also even down to lower levels, so particularly affecting the Cheshire Plains. The winds abate wherever you are. They do start to ease off through the early hours and temperatures hold up. So definitely frost free before the next system begins to show its hand from the southwest. Well, it would do. A few showers in the morning, some heavier rain pushing up from that direction in the afternoon, and temperatures a nudge up on today's value, so slightly milder. A few showers continue overnight, but by the time we're into Sunday, it's drier. For Monday and Tuesday, a little bit of uncertainty there, but largely dry. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, Emma, and that's it for tonight's Granada Reports.
Emma Sweeney will have the late update after news at 10, but for now, from all the team, thanks for watching. Have a great night.